Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to 91.3 FM as we speak to Brother Basel Agbaria all the way in Palestine this afternoon, right here on Eat, Pray, Love. Brother Basel, just before the break, you were sharing with us so much about the current situation in Palestine. We've looked at the global support. We've spoken about the situations that's happened this Ramadan, as well as in the current area where there are evictions happening. Um, Coming closer now to the current situation and the way forward. Please continue.
So after the issue of Sheikh Jarrah, and by the way, the issue of Sheikh Jarrah is still going on, so everybody knows, and actually the situation is getting harder and more trickier by day. So I'm asking everybody to follow the hashtag, Save Sheikh Jarrah, and keep posting about it so the issue doesn't die, and eventually, hopefully, the people of Sheikh Jarrah don't, lose their houses for the organizations. While all of this is happening, the 28th of Ramadan coincided with a day that the Zionists call the Jerusalem Day. Now, Jerusalem Day is the day that the Israelis or the Israeli occupation occupied the city of Jerusalem on the 1976. And when one of their generals entered into the old city of Jerusalem and entered into Masjid al-Aqsa al-Mubarak, and he said a sentence which always symbols this day, and he said the Temple Mount is in our hands, talking about Masjid al-Aqsa. So he called Masjid al-Aqsa the Temple Mount, and he said it's in our hands. And this is kind of the symbol that they lived on the whole time. Now, Masjid al-Aqsa Mubarak is under the Waqf of the Jordanians. So they are the ones who are responsible for Masjid al-Aqsa in terms of a Waqf. Now, on their Jerusalem day, they always attack the mosque. They always enter into the mosque, they roam inside the mosque, and so on. And what we talked about, that the Israeli occupation and the settlers, they move in a small steps in Masjid al-Aqsa, so they don't cause, a big eruption within Palestine and with the support from outside of Palestine. This time around, with their, I don't know what they thought exactly, but they thought that in the last 10 days of Ramadan, they're going to empty the mosque, arrest everyone that resists, and let those Zionist settlers come in. And they make posters, and we see these posters, we know the Hebrew language and the Jewish language, the Hebrew language, and there are people who are following them the whole time. And they said, this time we're going to pray, we're going to do that our Talmudic prayers with the equipment. They use certain equipment, and they're gonna let the equipment in this time. They're not gonna just come and visit the mosque or roam around and that's it. It's not a tourist, visit or so on. It's they're going to pray inside. They are trying to establish that the mosque belongs to us and them. That's what they did in the Abrahamic, for example, mosque in Hebron, and eventually it end up to being almost like a checkpoint, and them controlling most of the mosque. And certain small part for us, and every time we go in and out, we are get checked by the Israeli police and the army, and we are getting harassed. So this is actually the kind of reality they're trying to implement inside the mosque. So for them, in order to empty the mosque, the Zionist police and forces entered into the 26th night while we're praying, Taraweeh, at the night in Ramadan. They entered into the mosque and they start shooting the children, the women, everybody that's praying around. And we're talking about hundreds of thousands of people that inside the mosque. The mosque is fully packed. And they start, shooting and terrorizing everybody. And the ones who, head at certain places, like inside the mosque and so on, they start, close the mosque on them and they start shooting inside the carpets, they start shooting, tear gas bombs and rubber bullets on them. They entered into the mosque with their shoes, and we know how we respect the mosque. You don't come into the carpet with your shoes. Even from these things, we saw like certain Qurans that were thrown away, and were torn apart, by these forces. They have no respect for our religion, for us, for our, for our safety, for our women, for children. No respect whatsoever. this country went so crazy. They work for these settler organizations. Before, maybe in previous governments, they weren't like, so excessively working for them. But right now, those settler organizations, they have so much power in the Israeli Knesset and in the Israeli parliament, which, by the way, right now Netanyahu even can't form a majority in the Israeli Knesset. They're going election after election. The last 2 years, they did 5 elections, and the government can't hold itself. And they hold so much power in these governments, and almost like you feel like the country now works for these settler organizations. Try to empty the mosque and scare the people in the 26th night in order for the people to be scared, so the next day they don't come into the mosque. The next day came into the mosque from buses from all around Palestine, and only the people, this is very important, only the people from the 1948 areas and the people of Jerusalem that can get into the mosque. The people of West Bank, they close whenever they want, they close, the walls and the borders and the checkpoints on them. They can't reach. The people of Gaza obviously can't even dream. They are under siege. They can't go anywhere. Obviously can't enter, can't reach the Al-Aqsa Mosque and Jerusalem at all. And we, in return, we can't even dream or think about going to them. Even if you live here inside the 1940 areas and you want to go to Gaza, even thinking about it can send you to jail. So the people of Palestine start moving in buses to Jerusalem. It's the 27th night. It's Laylatul Qadr. It's the night that we have normally from 200 to 300,000 musallis coming from all over, if the people of the West Bank, manage to come in. And one of the highways that gets into the city of Jerusalem, they blocked the roads and they didn't allow the people to continue. And they said to the people, you go back, you're not allowed to go in, or you continue walking. So the people went down from the buses and they start walking to Masjid al-Aqsa Mubarak. And we're talking about 20 kilometers. It's a long way to get there. And it's before iftar, the people were, it's almost like an hour, and it's iftar time, and people are fasting, and it's children, women in the streets on the highway walking. It was such a, it's a shocking scene to see. So the people start phoning, and the people of Jerusalem, when saw what's happening on social media, and this is amazing, they start phoning each other, said, take your buses, take your cars, whoever can get to this highway. The people of Jerusalem should go to this point where they stop them, pick the people up, take them to Masjid al-Aqsa Mubarak. Thousands of cars were filled up on the highway. I'm saying this and I'm very proud. On the highway, I'm sorry, taking the people, from that highway to Masjid al-Aqsa Mubarak. It was so much cars that they got there even after Maghrib, because so many people went to take them, and the masjid was packed. At night, because the day after, it was the 28th day, and normally at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, those settlers supposed to get into the mosque to do their prayers. So at night, again, they start attacking the people, start dispersing them, start shooting them, more aggressively. But big group, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, thousands of them managed to stay inside the mosque for the morning. So they stayed the whole night, they're ready. And they stayed, with little rocks, for them to when the soldiers, they know, the police will come in the morning and start shooting at them, they will have something to resist. So the Israeli or the Zionist media taking picture of them and said, these are the terrorists, look at them, they're sitting in the mosque with rocks. There's a reason why we're sitting in the mosque. We're not, animals or so on. We're trying to protect our, our mosque. It's Laylatul Qadr. Instead of, spending it praying, we are fighting with soldiers. We don't want to fight with soldiers that carry guns, with rocks. It doesn't make any sense. We're not, we're not crazy people. We're normal people that want to live, want to pray, want to practice their rights. But this country doesn't allow us to do that. So in the morning, they couldn't do that. In the morning, went in, and it was even recorded on live video. Certain youngsters, influencers on Instagram, they were live. They went in, and I've never seen something like this. They changed, the whole mosque turned into smoke, tear gas bombs, the bullets, the amount of things that they broke inside the mosque. It was unbelievable. And from the other side, so many settlers standing from the Moroccan gate side, from what they call the Wailing Wall, which we know that as a Burak Wall, and it's even that got stolen from us, and it's our, our right, and it's our place. And they were waiting to get and storm the mosque, but first waiting for the police and the forces to do the job for them, so they can come and they protect them inside the mosque and let them do the prayers inside the mosque. An apartheid state, as I mentioned before. And the people stayed strong. Many of them went to to the hospitals. They were saying, people were bleeding. There's no way to get them out, because if you get out, you get arrested with them, you get beaten up. So if you say get a minor injury, or a moderate injury in your head, or you're bleeding, but you have to wait an hour or two until the soldiers leave the mosque, your situation could become dangerous. And there were not enough, people, nurses to help inside the mosque. And even the soldiers went inside the nursery. There's a nursery inside the Masjid al-Aqsa, and they bombarded it. They hit the doctors were in there, the nurses that were in there. They broke everything inside, so the people couldn't get treated inside the Al-Aqsa. Eventually, the people, stood strong inside Masjid al-Aqsa Mubarak. We were following what's happening all the time. Eventually, the settlers did not get in. And that's when all the country, all the Israeli Zionist occupation country, in social media, on the media, everywhere, saying, who controls Jerusalem? We conquered Jerusalem. We killed you in 1948. We displaced you in 1967. We are putting you under harsh conditions. We are, we have the guns. We have nuclear power. But you can't give up the mosque. We can't get the mosque. We can't get the mosque to those settlers. And that's what they realized. Even if the Palestinians in Jerusalem are by their own, they are ready to do anything to protect Jerusalem and Masjid al-Aqsa Mubarak. And that frustrated them. And with that happening, they start saying things like that, even on national TV: kill all the Arabs, shoot them dead, don't leave any one of them, go to their houses and kill them. And so the incitement and the hatred toward us, because we want to pray in our mosque, and they want to let settlers come and take it from us, that they start fighting us. When it got to this point, the people of Palestine in Jerusalem and in the 1940 area, they felt helpless. Settlers with their guns coming to shoot us. The media is against us. The whole government is against us. The settler organizations are against us. We felt now they're gonna kill all of us. They're gonna cause a massacre. That's when the youngsters in Jerusalem, they had a chant: Mishan Allah, ya Ghazi Allah. Mishan Allah, seeking God, Ghazi, help us. And that's when the first rockets were shot at towards the Israeli occupation. And that's when the crying of the Zionists stays to the whole world. And that's when they said, bombard Gaza, kill all of them, don't leave anyone. And that's what they all saying on public TV, everybody. And when we went to protest in the 1940 areas, we went out to the streets in many cities, in my city, in all the cities. In the city of Lod especially, they also settler organizations that trying to take over the Palestinian houses. Say your house costs 600,000 shekels, they're ready to pay double that price for your house to leave it. They try to control big buildings, and when they take that, big buildings, they take the next one and the next one. So even the displacement not happening in the city of Jerusalem, in all kinds of cities. By the way, and it's very important, the city of Lod is 30% Arab and 70% Jewish. And one settler, while one of the youngsters is protesting, he shot him. He shot him dead. And that's when the people felt so angry and said, can't we defend ourselves? From now on, we're going to defend ourselves. We're going to see this, who's the settler, and we're going to take the revenge for ourselves, because this country, it doesn't have a law. This country is lawless. It's an apartheid, and we can't sit like this, like sitting ducks and getting killed. And that's when the country went even more crazy, saying that the Arabs want to kill us, and these Arabs, you should kill them. And the fight went from being just in Jerusalem in the 1948 areas to everywhere. It's from Gaza, fighting the people of the West Bank, coming to the nearest checkpoints to the Israeli borders, fighting as well. The people in the 1948 areas protesting in every place that they can, and the settlers started making a lot of groups on social media and saying, you know, bring your guns, bring your powers, we're going to send buses, and we're going to kill them. There where you saw that settlers coming with their guns, with the army and the police next to them, protecting them, and they marked the Arab houses in those cities, and they said, we'll come back tonight and we'll kill you. And they start shooting at mosques, burning houses. They burned the house in Yafa. One of the children got burned really severely in the city of Yafa. And then people sit in their houses right now in 1948 areas. People are in their houses right now. I work, for example, in the city of Yafa. I'm in my city in Al Fahim. I'm a pharmacist. I tell you, I'm scared for my life. Any person, any Jewish person, any settler could find me now in the street and shoot me dead. I have no rights in this country. And the person will go away because the first person in Lud, the settler who shot the youngster in Lud, he's out. He got arrested for 3-4 days and now he's free. There's no law in this country right now. We are protesting against this racism. The people of Jordan, they saw this story, came to the borders of Jordan. The people of Lebanon came to the borders of Lebanon. Today we had the biggest strike that has been made in this country since 1936. So we crippled the whole country. Everything was closed today, and our fight is not done. Please keep checking what's happening with us, because those settlers with the army and with their guns could make a massacre against us, while the world is just watching.
Subhanallah. You know what, Abdul Basit, I'm going to ask you just to stay with us just a little bit. We're going to go in for a quick ad break and we'll be back soon.